My name is Nick Jankel. I'm a professional keynote speaker, and I do other things as well. And I've been keynote speaking for about 20 years. I was invited by clients to speak at their events before I even knew there was a keynote speaking industry. And then I really liked it, really enjoyed it. I'm quite good at it, and it became a big chunk of my career and my life's work. And I speak about a range of topics, all in the zone of how do I and my team, people, organization adapt to the fast-changing world, whether that's from the lens of leadership or innovation or transformation or change or adaptation. And I have also a part of me that likes to speak about what the future might hold. But I call myself a leadership futurist, not a futurist, because for me, it's not important just what someone goes, well, this is going to happen or might happen. It's more like this might happen, and what part do you have to play in to shape the future you want to see, which is much more about mindset, and it's much more about innovation and leadership. So for me, the most important thing to remember is every event costs a fortune. The people, the time off work, the investment, the venue, all the speakers, etc. So for me, it would be a pity to leave people feeling good, but without any seeds of change, any practical tools, any tips, any actual shift or change in the group or in the experience. So I've spent the last probably decade working out how can you use a short keynote, not just to educate some ideas, some thoughts, some stuff, not just to get everyone motivated and inspired so they feel like, yeah, I feel good, because that feeling can go very quickly. Like even before they get home, that's already gone. But how do you actually land some sticky thoughts that get caught into the organization or into the people's minds? And how do you actually go one step further and actually help people shift in the room in that moment? And that's what my kind of interest is. How do I use a small amount of time to really land a return on investment for the event and the experience? I was very lucky to study medicine and science and philosophy of science at university. And what I learned from that is that we have an amazing wealth of knowledge that's growing every day, every year, about how this amazing body works. And all a leader has to do all the things they want to do, all their ambitions and goals and vision is through them using their mind and body right. So for me, it would be crazy not to share some of the insights that are quite mind-blowing about how to use this mind and body right to create change, to do stories, to do purpose, to be resilient, to influence people. So, and one of the things I'm allergic to, on the other hand, is management consultancy people and keynote people who speak stuff that isn't actually based upon science. It's just sort of myth that got created in 1978 and people still use it. Like the 3 parts of the brain, the old brain, that's totally not based on science, it's just someone created it. And it gets replicated. Or right, left brain, again, not based upon science, just replicated. But there are insights like that are based on neuroscience that are fundamentally valuable. And so if you can share them in a sticky, easy to grasp way, because no one wants a science lecture as a keynote speaker, it's really important to know that. So if you can give a tiny bit of science, but turn it into something usable, a malleable tool, which is what I spend a lot of my time doing, with good language, good grammar, clever words, that kind of stuff, images, use a lot of images, video, then that science can actually be put to good use. AI could possibly be the most significant human invention in the history of the world. And we're talking about game-changing stuff. Not yet. It's still, it's impressive already, but as it develops, it's going to become super interesting and very humbling for us, particularly smart people, because the AI can be smarter than us already. But as I say in my keynotes, there ain't no such thing as artificial wisdom, as far as we know. Artificial intelligence, yes. Artificial wisdom, not. So that actually opens up an amazing opportunity for leaders to stop hanging out in spreadsheets, because AI does spreadsheets better than us already, right? If you want to just analyze data, get an AI to do it. It doesn't get tired, it doesn't have biases, doesn't get frustrated, it's not trying to get another job. It is just crunching the numbers. So that then leaves a huge opening for people to do what we do best, which are the C's, I call them so I remember them: connection, creativity, care, kindness, compassion, collaboration. These are all things that computers can't do. So that's kind of the opening on the one hand. And I also believe that any organization that doesn't have an AI-enabled aspect of their business, not necessarily their main product, but in their operations and their logistics, is going to eventually lack competitiveness, because just the sheer amount of work an AI can do is mind-blowing. And practicing what I preach, eating my own dog food / caviar. We have spent about 8 years working with AI companies on our own product. We had to pause it about 5 years ago because the AI just wasn't there. It was too expensive to leverage. Right now, about 6 months ago, we kicked back off our project, and we are looking to bring an AI-enabled kind of leadership coach in your pocket. That learns from all our IP and all our practices and tools and frameworks and sticky knowledge and imagery and whatever, and can deliver a leader in the point they need it, something valuable and useful for what they need in that moment, and more importantly, then start to bring them into a bigger, longer journey of self-development. So it both supplies solutions to the pain right now, but it uses that to engage a leader in becoming more committed to their own development as a leader. We're living in an age of radical uncertainty. It's not even like a little bit, it's like insane. People are currently so overwhelmed by what's changing in so many different places, plus fear for the fact that our summers are going hot and our winters are going wet and it's flooding and this, and where am I going to live, and I'm going to have a job because AI is coming. So there's so much going on that there are some basic sort of health start points. One is stay open, because it's tempting to close off in these environments and just to retreat into a spreadsheet or retreat into your patterns that you've had for 30 years that were effective when you were 20, but they're not really effective now, but you keep doing them because you're so scared of doing anything else. That is not the way. So you stay open, really important, stay open. Stay turned out, stay reading, stay engaged, stay listening, listen to your younger staff, listen to your competitors, listen to your customers, because as soon as you turn in, you stop listening, you stop empathizing, you stop hearing what your customers need and want for the future. You get stuck in what you're doing, and then the company goes bust. And I've seen it happen. So I worked with Nokia just before they went bankrupt. I worked with BlackBerry before they went bankrupt, and we were the voice saying, your customers don't want what you're giving them. Couldn't listen, couldn't hear, right? So stay open. And part of that is stay curious. And I think the next bit is probably as important, which is, if the world is moving so fast around you, you have to find route. You have to find a route. And for me, the best route is your purpose. And I discern in my purpose keynotes between life purpose, leadership purpose, and enterprise purpose. And you obviously want them to align in some way, but your purpose is your grounding, which is like, it's all going crazy around here. What am I here to do in my life? And then what am I here to do today? And that grounds you. And then part of the grounding is some kind of what we call an embodied leadership practice. So that could be mindfulness, it could be dance, it could be running, it could be swimming, it could be yoga, it could be anything. I mean, you can turn anything, you can singing, you can turn anything into a practice which is about grounding yourself so that no matter how crazy things get, and they're going to get even crazier, you're not overwhelmed and unmoored and destabilized. Because a destabilized leader, an unmoored organization, is a scary thing. And that's where things get pretty bad for the staff and the customer. So stay open, stay curious, find your purpose and grow into it and work out what it needs from you. And the third is stay rooted, which takes commitment and practice. I have just developed a few new keynote topics, which I'm really excited about. Really edgy stuff that's on the, probably not mainstream yet. because I get bored. If I'm talking about stuff that I developed 15 years ago and other people have already started talking about it anyway, so I'm like, you carry on with that stuff. I've got more interesting things going on. So I'm always pushing my own topics, subjects. So that's one thing. I've got a new book in process, which is great. As a company, we are both getting deeper with leaders and learning how to get a company to give us more time and more space with the leaders they give us so that we can actually get into all this stuff of theirs, which you can't do in a one-day workshop. You've got to see people regularly. So that's really exciting, is to get companies to give permission to their leaders to transform. And that means time. So that's one journey. And then the AI stuff is just blowing my mind what this stuff can do. So we're about to start training an AI on our IP, our leadership IP, which is about a million words of content we've extracted from books, slides, practices, toolkits, or whatever. So that's very exciting to see what it can do once we train it on that content.